Hello and thanks for joining. My name is Via Mercer. I'm a Universal Communications Consultant working for BlueSource, and today I just want to take you through a walkthrough of the Skype for Business client, and specifically the user experience surrounding Skype for Business. And so some of the things we're going to look at are the click to communicate options. We're going to take a look around the new look client and see how all the features and functions work. We're going to look at some of the call management features, some of the Skype meeting controls, how this all integrates into Outlook, and then we're going to look at how we can integrate Skype for Business and Skype Consumer, which is quite a key feature for this new product. For those of you that are already running a version of Link, there is a new look client. So we have things like the call monitor, which you'd be familiar with if you're used to Skype Consumer. We have a much flatter task hierarchy, fewer menus, and it makes it much easier for users to find the controls and the commands that they need. And it does have a much more Skypey feel to it. From the voice and video side of things, we've got enhancements around bandwidth utilization, got a new call via work feature, rate my call. So rate my call is a great feature which allows or prompts users at the end of a call to rate how good or bad that call was. It doesn't come up on every call, it will come up on a proportion of calls throughout that user's day. From a mobility point of view, there's enhancements been made around conversation history and access to that data, and enhanced mobile meeting experiences, including some single sign-on support across the Office platforms from a mobile device. With regards to the Skype consumer integration, it's a much easier way if you're used to doing it within Link and all the rules and regulations around how you do that. It's much easier in Skype for Business, and we will see that in the demonstration. And there's some deployment enhancements such as support for SQL always on, cold start enhancements, which from a Link point of view could be problematic sometimes. From Skype for Business, it's a much easier way of bringing a pool online from a cold start. There's been some work around the patching and upgrade capabilities, and so that's much easier, and some centralized login enhancements as well. And so at this point we want to dive straight into the demo, so we're going to switch over to the other screen and we'll jump straight in. Okay, so this is the Skype for Business client. Just to show you, let's sign out of that, and there we go. This looks very similar to, if you are familiar with the Link experience, looks very familiar, but it's got a more Skypey feel to it. So when we sign in, typically our sign-in address will be similar to our email address. So mine is, as you'd expect, vm.mercer@bluesource.co.uk, and here we go, we've signed in. So first thing to show is up here we've got the me area. So this is everything about me, myself. So you can see my picture. This will be the same picture that we see across Outlook, same picture we see in Skype for Business, and if we use SharePoint as well, the same picture we're going to see in SharePoint as well. And we can upgrade that depending on what versions of the platforms you're running. This may be a picture that's stored in Active Directory, or it may be a picture that's stored in Exchange, or possibly SharePoint, and then published down. The key point there is going to be consistent across all of our Office applications and back office applications. So we can see that I've got a red dot. This is showing my present status. So presence is kind of core to the functionality of how Skype for Business works, and it's a very key feature. Presence is all about telling everybody else who may want to interact with me whether I'm available or what I'm up to. It's not about keeping tabs on me, it's all about letting people know how available I am to communicate. And so if I drop down on the list here, we can see there's some manual statuses available up here. So a green status is telling everybody I'm available, feel free to contact me, maybe send me an instant message, maybe call me directly or video call, desktop share, whatever it happens to be, I'm available to take that communication. And I can change my status just by clicking on that there. Then you've got the red statuses, which are busy statuses. So for a manual status update, I can set myself to busy. I could set myself to do not disturb. And when I'm in do not disturb, any inbound instant messages are going to get blocked, apart from those people that I choose to override the do not disturb status. Any voice calls that come in will be sent to my voicemail, and any other type of interaction is just going to get blocked. A yellow status is an away status, so I can say I'm going to be right back. Maybe I'm just popping off to make a cup of tea. If I'm at home, for instance, I'll use the be right back status because I don't lock my screen when I'm at home. If I'm in the office, then I'll lock my screen and there'll be an automatic away status, so I don't need to actually change that. Then as I come back and log back into my machine, it will change it back to my previous version, so whether that was busy or available or whatever that may have been. And so that's kind of the me area. As we drop down into here, this is now my buddy list or my contact list. And when you first log into Skype for Business, this will be blank. There'll be no one in there. And you can start building your buddy list. But you don't actually have to add anyone to your contact list at all. If you want to find someone, all you need to do is search for them. So let's search for Keith. As we can see, we've got 2 Keiths come up. Now this is doing an aggregated search. So it's searching our global address book, the same address book that you'd see in Outlook. So we're getting a nice consistent results. But it's also searching my local Outlook contacts. So this will be personalized for every user in the business. Once you've found the person you want, you can do a number of things. If you hover over them, you'll get your click to communicate options. So we've got click to instant message, we've got click to call, we've got click to video, and we've got the contact card. And down here we've got a few more options. So we could schedule a meeting, send an email message. So these are all your quick click to communicate options. If I drop down next to the call option, I also get a variety of numbers that I can call Keith on, and these are all his registered numbers. Typically I would do a Skype for Business call, and that way, should Keith be on his mobile, he'll pick it up on his mobile. If he's out at customer site, he may decide to divert that to voicemail, or if he's at home, he may divert it to his home phone number, or just pick it up in the Skype for Business client. The thing is, Keith makes the choice of where to pick the call up, and as users we make the choice of where to pick the call up, and I'll show you a couple of different ways of manipulating the call flow in a minute as well, which is all user based. So a key point to think about throughout this walkthrough is Skype for Business is designed with the user at the center of everything. So the user is in control of how they want to be communicated with and how available they are with the rest of the business and external parties that might want to communicate with them. So let's find this user. So this is a user that I'm going to be testing with. So we'll just log into the client and you should see, there we go. So that now I've logged into that client, they're showing as available. So as I said, once I found them, I want to send an instant message. So we'll open up an instant message and then we can just start typing as you would expect. And as I hit enter, off that goes. And then I'll just start typing back and we can see that this user LinkAU1 is typing a message back. So let's send that back in and there we go. So we've started with an instant message, and now from here we might want to add video, we might want to add audio. So let's add audio. So as we click on the button, if we had various options, they would show up here. As it is, we're going to choose a Skype for Business call, and now we've added audio to the stream. If we then decide, actually, you know what we really need to do is collaborate on a whiteboard, then all we need to do is choose these options down here. So if I open these up, we've got a number of things we can do. We can present our desktop, we can present a program. I'm actually going to choose to go more whiteboard. And so now I've decided I want to collaborate with this particular user, LinkAU1, and so I'm going to start up a whiteboard session. And what that's going to do in the background is turn this from a standard audio call into a web conference. And so now I've got the web conference up, This is now me. And the other party will be able to see me highlighting things on the screen. We can add some text. Let's add some text. There we go. And then we can add content. And this will be added from everybody that's on the conference call. So we've moved from a single instant message just to see if the person is available through to a full whiteboard session, and then we can go on from there and say, oh, actually what we need to do is collaborate on a document, so let me present my desktop out, and then I'm not going to do that just now because it will break the desktop sharing that I'm doing already, but I can choose to share one or all of my desktops. So if I had multiple screens, I can just pick one of those screens, keep all of my content that may be a bit more private to on the other screens, and then the users that are on that conference aren't going to see that. If I've only got a single screen, I could actually just choose to present a program. So if I open up a program, let's open up Notepad. When I choose to present a program, it gives me an option of which program do I want to present, and so I can pick my program and just present that one. So if I haven't got multiple screens and I've still got some maybe sensitive information on the desktop, I'm making sure that I'm not presenting anything that I shouldn't be. Now the benefit of doing this rather than emailing the documents around is just because you've got a single instance of that document. You're collaborating on that document in real time, and you only need to then save it once, and that will be centralized for whoever needs to see that. So my other options in here are to add attachments. So if I wanted to have some handouts, maybe on a webinar, I could add some attachments. Maybe it's the PowerPoint presentation, or maybe it's just some additional information that I need to hand out. So we can add those attachments in there. And then the other option that is very useful here is the PowerPoint files. So if I present PowerPoint, what that's going to do is actually upload a PowerPoint presentation and allow me to present that out to the audience. So similar to what you saw when you joined the meeting this morning, there was a PowerPoint slide deck which was presenting out, and that does include embedded audio and embedded video. So it's a very powerful way of presenting PowerPoint slide decks, and is a better way than doing a desktop share. Because if you desktop share, then you're presenting everything, you lose control. You might see here that, okay, I've got my controls up here, but I can't really see what's going on in the meeting. Whereas if I do it via uploading the PowerPoint presentation, I still get all of my meeting controls available to me. So some of the other controls that we get inside the meeting, which is the controls you would expect to see in a typical web conference. I've got my recording, so I can start and stop recording. And now this isn't a stealth recorder. This is really just to record so that you can publish afterwards. So it's going to let everybody know that the meeting is being recorded. If they don't want to be recorded, they can then drop off the meeting at that point. There's some other information around the font size and things like that. The meeting entry info is good. This is what you would normally send out on your email. I'll show you how to schedule a meeting in a little while, but this is the information that would be sent out for those particular meetings. So you've got the one-click join URL, you've got a dial-in number, so if the users don't have, if the external participants or maybe internal participants don't have access to a PC, they might just want to join the audio portion so they can dial in over the PSTN from any phone. And then I've got some meeting options. So this can control, as we go through the meeting, I can lock the meeting down, or I can control how users can interact with the meeting. So for example, with PowerPoint presentations, we can annotate those, and the default is then on my machine is set to allow presenters only to annotate PowerPoint presentations. I can allow everyone, or I can set that to no one. I can push everybody into the lobby, turn on and off announcements, or I can lock it down completely. So all of those options are available on the fly as you go through the meeting. You can also set those up ahead of time as well. This started out, as I said, from a single instant message, and we've now gone into a meeting. Well, actually, if we wanted to now make this a multi-party meeting, we can then click on our participant list. This shows us the different users that are in there, also their present status and what they're connected to. So I was connected to the whiteboard presentation, link AU1, because I didn't accept it on the other end. They didn't join. But if I want to bring someone else into the meeting, I can just invite more people. So as I invite more people, this brings up my contact list, and I can just start typing someone's name. So let's look for Keith. Click on their name. I mean, Keith's away, so he's not going to see this, but if he was there, I could click OK and bring them into the meeting. And it's as simple as that. They then get an invite at their end, a pop-up on their screen, and they can join with a one-click join. If I want to add people just for the audio portion, then I can still search for someone, or what I could do is just type a phone number in. So as I type a phone number, that's going to normalize out, and if I click OK, that's going to go out and call that phone number and bring them into the meeting, and that will just be for the audio portion because I'm dialing a mobile phone or any other phone number. So it's very easy from one interface to start bringing people into the meeting, and actually if I want to drop them out of the meeting, I can just right click them and remove them. And now this is still an ongoing meeting, but now I'm the only participant in that meeting. So a couple of other things while we're on this screen and while we're in this meeting area. Under the participant actions, we can do some things that you'd expect from a kind of a web conference platform. So I can mute the audience. So everybody in the audience will get muted. They can still unmute themselves. It's not locked down in that sense, and we would have to do that in a slightly different way. But I can mute everybody. So if they're making noise and I'm trying to present out to a group of people, I can mute them up from here. We can cancel the IM, so we can block that. We can block video, and we can hide all the names. So again, this is more about web conferencing, and when you're doing maybe a webcast or a webinar, you might want to choose some of these options so that as people join and leave, they're not going to be making noise. They're not going to start up their video or start instant messaging everybody. So from the client perspective, then we've seen how to search for someone and then go through the click to communicate options. So if you want to add someone from an external organization, it's something called federation. You just type in their email address. Or it's really their Skype address, their Skype for business address, but typically it's the same as their email address. So it may be vm.test@external.com, for instance. That's not a valid name, but it could be something like that. And then you would just add them, right click, add to your contact list, and then create them a group. So that then allows you to not only do your instant messaging, your voice, your video, your desktop sharing, your web conferencing through to internal users, but it also extends that out to federated parties. And so the definition of a federated party is someone external to your business who also has Skype for Business or Link or one of the iterations of Skype for Business. The last thing I want to show you then on the contact list is the Skype integration. So Skype for Business and Skype Consumer are two different products. They're two different backends and they are completely separate. However, I can, if I choose, when I'm searching for someone, we've got this Skype directory search. And if we click on that, that's going to go out to the Skype Consumer directory and search for everybody that's got now VM in their name, or maybe it's David, for example. That's going to go out and search for everybody in the Skype directory with David in their name. So you can search by their Skype name, you can search by their email address, phone number and location as it states here. David's going to take quite a while because there's a lot of Davids in the Skype directory. And so once you found the person there, you can do the same again. Right click them, add to your contact list. Now the little difference here is that it's going to then send them a pending request, and until that's accepted on the other end, you can't interact with them. Once that has been accepted, you can then instant message each other, and you can do audio and video calls between each other. So it really extends the Skype for Business experience out to not only business users but those consumer users as well. So maybe for interviews you might want to invite people in via Skype to do video interviews, or to present content, or any other interaction you might have that you need to use Skype for. You can now use Skype for Business to integrate with them as well, and that means you no longer need to run the two clients side by side. You can just have your single Skype for Business client, and when you go home, when you're on your personal time, you can then continue using the Skype consumer. They are two different environments. So just to quickly run through a couple of the other tabs we've got here, this is just a keypad, so it's just to make it look like a soft phone, because essentially this Skype for Business client is my telephone. So we can see down the bottom here, this has got my device. So I've got a headset plugged in, so I'm using the Skype for Business client plus my headset, which turns my computer into my phone. So wherever I log in, that's where my calls are delivered. And that doesn't matter whether I'm in a coffee shop, whether I'm at a customer site, or whether I'm at home, or whether I'm in the office. I have the same experience no matter where I am. The calls follow me, my identity follows me about. I could even be logged into my mobile phone using the Skype for Business for mobile, and my calls will be delivered there as well. So I'm in control of picking up my calls where I want to pick them up. I've got a single number, and anybody calls that single number, it will ring wherever I'm logged into. Now, if I do decide that maybe I'm at home, I don't have internet access, I can actually forward my calls to somewhere else. So I could forward them to a mobile. Maybe I've got a mobile that doesn't support the Skype for Mobile client, such as a non-smartphone, or maybe I don't have very good mobile signal, my internet's down, but I want to forward my calls to my home phone number. So I can do that as well. You can forward them to wherever you want, or use something called simultaneously ring, which is then about ringing both your Skype for Business client and also an external phone as well. So this is just to show you that I'm in control of where my calls are delivered. It really is putting the user at the center of everything. Now, if you want to make a phone call, you can type the number in. That's a little bit of a long-winded way of doing it. You could just type it in using the keypad on your keyboard. Much easier way of doing that. And once you have typed the phone number in, you just hit call or you hit enter, and it will try and call that number. So let's try and do that. And then off it goes. That's just a standard phone call. So we talked about all the kind of exciting stuff around instant messaging and web conferencing, but if you just want to make a phone call, this is how you make just a standard phone call. And so we'll answer that. We've got all the standard things that you would expect. We can mute, we can unmute, we can put the call on hold, and then we can resume the call, or we can transfer that off to somebody else. So if I hit transfer, I can just type a phone number in, just any phone number. I'm not going to actually send that, or you can actually search for somebody in the address book. So if I search for somebody, I can just pick them up and transfer the call over to them. So that's known as a blind transfer. There is a way to do consultative transfer. I'm not going to go into that today, but there's a couple of options around how to do transfers. And then we've got a device button here, which will show me all the different devices that I happen to have plugged into the machine. So on mine, I've got a single headset, but I've also got the PC mic and speakers that are built in. So I could switch the device between the two, and that would seamlessly switch the call between the two devices. So it may be that I have a speakerphone plugged in and a headset, and I want to switch between one or the other, and I can do that all from within this menu. If we then wanted to turn this straightforward point-to-point voice call into a conference call, I can just click the invite more people button. That's going to bring up my contact list. I can search for somebody as I did before, or I can just type a phone number in. So let me type a phone number, hit OK. That's going to go out and call that person in and turn this from a two-person call into a conference call. So all of the features and functions are really designed to make it as easy as possible. You don't have to go too far to find what you need. You don't have to go into lots of different applications. I've only used this one application so far. I am going to show you the experience from Outlook in a minute. But up to now I've used this one piece of software to do absolutely everything. And we've gone from instant messaging through to voice calls, through to web conferencing, through to multi-party conferences. So the experience from Outlook is very, very similar. So typically users are not going to be sitting there with Skype for Business client in front of them looking at that all day, but you don't need to. So as an email comes in, and this will work for federated parties as well as internal parties, you can see that I've got the presence indication, so I can see that Keith is away. If I hover over him, I get my click to communicate options. So I can do click to instant message, I can do a click to call, I can do a click to video call, I can do a click to email, I can view the full contact card. So a consistent user experience between your what you're seeing in Outlook and what you're seeing in Skype for Business as well. And I can see everybody on the list. And I've got the same options for everybody on the list just by hovering over them. We can quickly see who's available, who's not, and I can make the call directly from within Outlook itself. If we want to schedule a meeting to here, let's say we wanted to schedule a meeting for this afternoon, we would choose our time and date that we wanted. On our menu bar, we've got a new Skype meeting option. We click on new Skype meeting and that's it. This meeting is now live. This is your one-click URL, and we can invite people as we normally would. So I can invite external people. So this is now going out to a Hotmail user, so they necessarily won't have Skype for Business. They can join using the Skype web app. All they need to do is click this link. If they don't have Skype for Business, it will use the web app. I can choose internal people. So this is Keith that we saw earlier, who's now available. So that's an internal person. They'll click the same join Skype meeting link, a URL, and that's going to join them using Skype for Business. And I can send it to also external people as well that might have Skype for Business and are federated with us. Give it a subject line as you normally would. You've chosen your date and time already, and down here you've got your join by phone option, your one-click join option, and I can set up the meeting options as we saw earlier. When I showed you those meeting options within the web conference, I said you could preset some of these. If you come into these meeting options here and select this button, a new meeting space that I control permissions, we can then change those options. So we can say everybody, nobody has to wait in the lobby, or everybody has to wait in the lobby. We can disable instant messaging, we can mute all the attendees as they join, and we can block all attendance videos. So these are very useful options for if you want to do a webinar to lots of people. You don't want people who might join late coming in with video or coming in with voice and interrupting your meeting. So you can have these all blocked from the get-go. Once I click OK, that's going to update the meeting and select those settings just for that one meeting. When I go to the next meeting, it will be back to my defaults. If I want to set these ongoing, I can click remember settings, and that's going to remember those ongoing. There we go, and now I'm going to join this one. So this now shouldn't interrupt our other meeting. And there we go. That's joined me into the meeting. So it's a one-click join. Once you've set up that meeting, you click the URL and in you go. And we've got all the same options that we had before. So I can invite new people. I've got my add video. I've got my mutes and my unmutes, instant messaging, and all the presentation options. So the desktop sharing, the PowerPoint sharing, the program sharing, everything that we saw before. So that was a real whistle-stop tour around the Skype for Business client. Please do reach out to us with any further questions, or if you'd like to arrange a more bespoke demonstration of certain features and functions and discuss how that's going to integrate into your business, please do reach out to us on the phone number there, which is 0845 319 2100. Thanks for listening. Thank you very much.